So I'm Isabel. I'm currently studying English at Cambridge, and this is my dissertation topic. There's literally no escape. So I thought I would share it with you. Audrey introduces herself, she died in '93, but she introduced herself as a black warrior, feminist, lesbian, mother, poet, or any combination of those things. I can only claim to be some of those things, but yeah, I think that will show in the poetry too. So here we go. This one's called Coal, and it's the name of a second collection. I is the total black, being spoken from the earth's inside. There are many kinds of open. How a diamond comes into a knot of flame. How a sound comes into a word, coloured by who pays what for speaking. Some words are open, like a diamond on glass windows, singing out within the crash of passing sun. Then there are words like stapled wages in a perforated book. Buy and sign and tear apart and come whatever wills, all chances, the stub remains, an ill-pulled tooth. Some words live in my throat, breeding like adders. Others know sun, seeking like gypsies over my tongue to explode through my lips like young sparrows bursting from shell. Some words bedevil me. Love is a word, another kind of open. As a diamond comes into a knot of flame, I am black because I come from the earth's inside. Take my word for jewel in your open light. Thank you. I'm introduced behind. This one's called A Woman Speaks. Moon-marked and touched by sun, my magic is unwritten. But when the sea turns back, it will leave my shape behind. I seek no favour untouched by blood, unrelenting as the curse of love, permanent as my errors or my pride. I do not mix love with pity, nor hate with scorn, and if you would know me, look into the entrails of Uranus, where the restless oceans pound. I do not dwell within my birth nor my divinities, who am ageless and half-grown and still seeking my sisters. Witches in Dahomey wear me inside their coiled cloths as our mother did, mourning. I have been woman for a long time. Beware my smile, I am treacherous with old magic, and noon's new fury. With all your wide futures promised, I am woman and not white. This one's called A Litany for Survival, and it's one of her most famous poems. It's also the name of a documentary about her, if anyone is interested. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone. For those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who love in doorways, coming and going, in the hours between dawns, looking inward and outward at once, before and after, seeking a now that can breed futures, like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams will not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who were imprinted with fear, like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk. For by this weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, the heavy-footed hope to silence us. For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak, remembering we were never meant to survive.
This is one I wrote. It's called The City. It's sort of an ode to London. So. Lose yourself in the city. Times it gets so pretty around here. Nobody even knows your name. No and 1,000 lifetimes trying to see it all. So many faces, all worlds reside in the cracks and spaces. Somehow it's mine, and I am the city. My big, my beautiful city. Oh, London City. You can lose yourself in the city. Gonna learn the rules of the underground. Walk on the left, stand with the right. We're the poets and the madman. We live for the night. You can lose yourself in the city. There's a whole world of possibilities for a lost soul trying to make a way. The streets won't if you care to listen to what they say. And somehow it's mine, and I am the city. My big, my beautiful city. Oh, London. Oh, oh. You can choke on the big smoke, or you can ride those views so high. You can choke on the big smoke, or you can ride those views so high. A big, bad, beautiful city. Oh, London City.
Cross-examination. Someplace cozy on the 11th of the 10th, 2014. It was 11 o'clock in the morning, mid-October. I was wearing my powder blue suit, dark blue shirt, tie and display handkerchief. I just heard. It's also called, rather amputatedly, kerchief. Black brogues, pumas actually. Black wool socks with dark blue clocks on them. I was neat, clean, shaved and sober. And I didn't care who knew it. I start like this for a reason. Cold start, cold sober, stone cold sober, and none of these will be a leitmotif, or one, just a bit, hazard a guess. If I manage to make it that is. Time will tell. You off for thinking this could be anything but not chronological. Above all, footnote. I'm not trading in motifs though, just to get that out of the way. Fashion police, out of the way. No. No false expectations. Someone I once knew once said, your how beats my why. I stuck with it. So we're in California, obviously, LA, I guess, and now I'll drive down to some place in the Midwest. My geography is beyond all good and evil, as is anybody's, to be fair, but what's fair in nature is all fair. In nature it's all good. It's all beyond good and evil. I've never been to the United States, so it's all the same to me. All my states, sober, fluid, cast in first stone, unturned, are temporarily united into one big idea. Us. Us two. We're not married, I'll repeat, but we're very much, on the same page. It's not a matter of size, it's a matter of size. A1 is what I like best, because it's an A and a 1, and I like beginnings. Neat, clean-shaven and sobered. Stubble is for 4 hours later. A 4 o'clock on sock shade. This texture is like the kerchief, fine wool, but white, so as to see the traces better, evidence and all that. Kerchief is like a sneeze. A sneeze is like an orgasm for minors. That's what they say in sexual education. Onomatopoeia. And that's a major reason for trying to contract those colds. Your text will begin now. A little something I wrote earlier, like last week sometime when I was on the road again. Music. You with your rings on your fingers and time on your hands is what he sings as we're driving down a semi. And why not country road? And why not have a country song matching a country road sometimes? And I've never listened to his lyrics, and now I realize he's a wordsmith. Because I thought about it, and a good writer is something different. A good songwriter means a lot of things, but somebody who's capable of making tasteful, less twists of tongue is what I decided is a wordsmith. I make twists of tongue, and he's very into that, but not while we're driving. My linguistic turn puts him off, he said. He said that once after a near-death experience, but what a thing to have had. It's pretty priceless. I am a W.H. Smith, as I sell a lot of things. Tell me what you like, I'll make it. That's the kind of artist I am. Always acutely aware of my audience. Always acute and aware wolf girl, like Mowgli. And I too was taught by the big AKA Baloo, it's no joke, you know, the bit where he almost drops the tree onto the kid, because he's just too much into that musty pit of ants. My dad almost, or rather not almost, but certainly did, yes, dropped a heavy piece of furniture on me and hence, but hey, he let go. My mum will not let it go, blames it on everything that's ever gone wrong in my life, my lack of focus during chemistry. I blame that on chemistry. We are one big fat bundle of hormones, at least I am, don't know about you. Don't want to assume things. This is what I've learned from you English. To assume. Always assume and then decide post factum you actually don't want to assume. And then you take one big step back, as if stepping away from your imaginary assumption, pushing it away with both hands. There you go, assumption. I disassociate myself from your never having existedness. I have one ring on my finger, and that finger does not push any imaginary things away, just the real ones, like marriage, which makes it a constant paradox right in the middle of my index. What's your happiness index? I heard on BBC4 there is no such thing. I could have told you that, but I haven't got the broadcasting authority. I do have broadcasts, though, but I use them for other things, like making any kind of art you like, any. You name it, and I will rename it, as I'm in charge of titles, thank you very much. If you think you can get into my designation, you're backing up the wrong tree. You're staring at the wrong bark. Bark, not me, dimensions vary, 1982. I'm a bit of a sniffer dog. Not a wolf, more a sniffer, you know, the classic. I don't know much about breeding, but I found I'd like to call myself a mongrel. I detect things, but it's not up to me to say what, or I'm not up to it, or none of the above, or anyone's business. I am an eye, a private eye. As, would you take me seriously if I was publicly funded, taxpayers investigator? I think not. I think I'll go private and find out for myself and my pecunious clients, and that's what artists do. Let's call things by their proper name, index to title. I haven't found what I'm looking for, and I don't know what I'm looking for, what's more, but I've got a lead. I've got some role to play. I called it Cop Out, Dick In, Unleashed. To quote every detective that's ever been on late night telly, something something remembered something in a conversation was important, but something something can't remember for the life of me what it was, something something something, and by the end of the show, somebody says something unrelated. Cut to and on his stone cold sober for now yet informed by a lifelong business partner, liquor obviously, facial structure, twitchingly follow his memory back to that then not now so relevant place, and he's like, yes. And all the pieces come together like in a magnetic jigsaw puzzle, where the magnetism has been switched off forever due to rising electricity costs, etc. And then some rogue comes along and switches it back on. Do they exist? A passive B move. Maybe I should patent it. That's the kind of work I do. I stumble across stuff, I sniff it out. I'm following a trail. As we're following a VW trailer that says peace and love in it, and I think, wake up, mate. And yet I stick both fingers up to show, yeah, me too, peace. But he doesn't see me, or it's a she, but I assume the man is driving because that's 60s hippie sexism for you. I could stick 3 fingers up with my other hand, and then it's VW. But then again, I could be more economical and just stick up one, as I haven't got that many to spare, what with all that time on my hands. Something we should drop all as soon as possible is our od, or. I'm encoding in case there's somebody else reading. If we care about privacy. Listen to me, I read this in the Daily Mail. Forget fingerprints, detectives will soon sniff out criminals. Technology identifies people by the odor of their hands. Magpie, as I sort of find stuff, magnet, is not something. I wasn't that present during 8 years of physics, mainly due to physical other interests, but I seem to remember there is something called that could be incorporated. Body and soul of my brogue stepped into something smelly. I sniffed dog, but that's a conceptual inversion. Om Shanti, my jigsaw, the light, felt the power of passive assemblage, DIY into the index title, big picture. Oh, that's what you look like. Never would have guessed. I didn't want to assume. You know the drill. Here, holy, 3 ohms a day have improved my timber's intonation somewhat. And we sealed the practice with 1 ohm. May I just say, shan't I say... I will say one thing though, non-stealing is something we chant a lot, so I'd like to take a minute to clarify. If you Google the following sentence, you'll understand. Magpies do not steal trinkets and are positively scared of shiny objects, according to new research. And as he opens his battered raincoat, the rays of the VW headlights just catch a glimpse of the happy to see me in his pocket, which in turn blinds me with fear and longing, or something along those lines. Now, you've got to locate your reader in time and space, is what some famous female just said. And for the middle bit to be held comfortably between 2 sections, I should go back to California. Yeah, no. But since I've never actually been there, and comfort is not what I'm after in this piece, and even better, I'll go to Qualifornia. I'm good at some things, you'll see. Okay, down and out. You ever have a tune in your head and you can't remember the words? It's a necessary footnote. Yes. I think I mentioned this before, but then that was yesterday. I tell you, yesterday's a wind gone down, a sun dropped in the west. Yesterday's a cancelled check. And yesterday may well live in an altogether different era. I do still believe in before and after, rehab, refab, for all I'm concerned. And today I'm all new, stone fresh, clean cut, sober, etc., etc. So, the hunch. Back to the issue. I carry the cross of a repetitive inclination, word, cross my heart and examine my chest. It's all the paint fumes, probably. I've been thinking about this a lot. My thesis, how about it? Okay, the artist as a contemporary sleuth. Not sloth. Not sloth, no longer, as we're in the business, big business, baby. Success? I follow my instincts. Up to a point when clean-cut analysis kicks in, out of the blue October morning, you can't predict timelines. Out of my hands, onto your forehead. Sloths, on the other hand, follow insects. Or rather simply hang out and wait. So in that respect, we might have something in common. I just said that to make you feel comfortable in your assumptions regarding your average artist's productivity. What do I do all day? Oh, you know, breathe, for example. Breathe fumes, for example. Breathe deep. One thing though. I don't mind being charged, and I do appreciate attention, but most days I simply can't pay. The doctor troped it for me, okay. Your headlamp flickers. And I assume the bulb's got a slack joint or something, because before you know it, the light's gone out. See, and sloths have very strong joints. They stay hanging off branches for weeks. Hanging, not a move. Never drop, never stop. Tailing is their middle name, middleman neither. No man's name, no man's strain, right in the middle of their cute little bodies. Anyway, my point is, my focus is too weak to sustain writing a masterpiece on the same on-set theme, and anyway, peace can only be sustained once the concept of master is dropped. Talk about dropping and throwing cold cuts, sober stones, just sort of threw that in there.
Son of the mountain, sea and sand, born to the flow of tears and a marching band. Found my feet in homes built on stolen land, things I knew before you knew I could understand. Stories told through bloodlines, laughter, rhymes, riddles, proverbs, deep scars, symbols, signs, voices unheard, warfare, space and time. Moon glow, rutile and a diamond shine. That palm wine music, a lantern dance dark enough that a thief might architect the charts, a cup of rum confidence and a fearful lie. But the bubble will not fall, bro. Pass or die. Granddaddy was a gallus, and he won't deny meant no malice still. We don't doubt she cried, sent him off to the dance in a suit and tie, but stayed home, my matriarch, queen of high. She sold the Gold Coast, brought back nuts to roast, fine fabrics, kept us in the freshest clothes, ran the market. Mother too paid her dues, took kids off the streets with books and shoes. Some are thankful, some still press the line, act on brought up, brazen, turn and face. Throw curses on her calm and grace, stay resistant through distance, time and space. When she died, hearts beat like a marching band, and the blood of the cattle stained the lamp as women poured palm oil into pans and men whispered prayers into upturned hands where sons of the mountain, sea and sand, when I die, lead the way with a marching band dressed in red and the black gold of the sun, harmonize in your morning, move as one. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Brother Portrait, I'm just gonna read some poems. Some poems and rhymes and stuff. That first one, I guess, is just a little intro. Yeah, I think me musing on my family a little bit. This is just another story. I woke to the touch of phantom lips and passion poised on the tip. What dreams? The lightness of loss had me in between a tired heart and a pain supreme. Dear lover, in slumber I find myself, led by the blind who reach to touch my face and settle my mind. You jest. Oh, how profound that seems, but I have not one idea what it means. So I tell it. This peripatetic near the journey's end who, resting his feet, took the time to send a letter penned from where you last saw me, steam still rising from an empty cup of tea. But since so much remains unsaid, then what does it matter if the letter goes unread? And what do I care if my going brings tears shed and yet more sleep lost on that unmade bed? Some words are just too heavy to take back. Those were my old ways, though I may relapse if I lack what it takes to make it through and trapped between midnight and you. Like come winter, the day ends far too soon and we leave bed before the sun hits the room. Since we were deep in that season when you let me in, I'm yet to see the sunlight that touch your skin. A body cast in copper and brushed bronze, I know not how many hands have touched on, but you say, when we lay, I hold you as if each part of my being did mold you. Such words made a man of this boy, buried his fear deep beneath a cold black veneer, handmade, smoothing the rough edge that pride forbade when really you'd rather jade. But it was I that you kept, my eyes hard jet, my palm resting on your heart as I slept, so yours beat to meet the rhythm I set, though weakened each time that you wept. If you hear it in my voice that I am restless, then trust that I'll be back, and if I leave again, take these words till I return and prove them true, here between midnight and you.
Need a bit of manual dexterity here. Luckily, I spend a lot of time on my phone. I was going to start by saying sorry for something, but instead, I can draw your attention to the detail. Half hours. The new company has also been used for the delay in replying. I can't feel shit statistically. If you are born on January the 16th, then everything you do once will be an expiring sun is shining. The best way of getting a little statistically, if you are born on January the 16th, then everything you once mocked, you will do at least once every 2 to 3 weeks ago. By the way, you can be credited or anonymous as you prefer. To use the following models are the best way forward. Look up and see, what do the stars say? Look up and see, what do the stars say? Look up and Only angels are truly safe in the cloud storage space. You can upload a new voice to my mouth. The setting up of a bit of a problem, jobs and training for the delay in replying. I can't feel shit. If I had the opportunity for me and I'm unable and I will not be able to get together because everything, who is this no self who feels disconnected, and small businesses and individuals who are the details for the delay in replying. I can't feel shit. I fear my words don't stack up properly, and really what I need to do is to be away from the rest of the world, which seems inexplicably beautiful, even though I know there's very little time and money, and our safe and sound quality is excellent for the delay in replying. If seeing patterns in chaos explains animals and clouds, and then I can see the latest, in touch with you, I need to be away from home, from the rest of the expiring sun. Dry bones strewn across the mental storyboard. Strange that I can do this by email. Strange that faces and words and thoughts ground down to an image dust collecting in the UK. For a while ago, I imagined that strange that the new year would be great for you. You can get the cheapest price for your help and support and the delay in replying, but I offer a drawing of a healthy human love heart instead. Lol. I will. KK is giving without evidence that it matters because I am also registered with us and we will be in touch with you, and I so much better than this. Yeah, she's nice. I don't know her that well, as the world seems inexplicably beautiful, even though you know there's very little time to spare, and then being a virgin, being a person doesn't appeal after all that, because who are we trying to contact when I've climbed back out of this joke? Let's start again. I'll scroll down to where you were when I silenced you. Only I need to be away from the rest of this, because that feeling when I don't really miss anything else that you need, a drawing of a healthy human heart, where only angels are truly safe in the cloud computing and blue screen sky backdrop of the blue highlight of the blue and white distressing self-improvement downloads. And then on the other hand, I will be in touch with you to be the best Erica X, to get a chance, a bit to be the same as strange lights, pick out the details before dark. And I look up, faces and words and thoughts ground down into an image dust collecting in an upload of the setting sun. Let's go get lost. In my phone. It's a great deal of time. Who counts as a body? I imagined it against your skinny frame, and I will not be able to get love to see you there, because it's all the same. It's all that this answer is. Love is not the absence of fear in Gone Girl. A dream told me that the new year would be great if you want to be away from the rest of everything. This busyness is a cultural artifact, and don't they tell you that self-organisation means the organism sculpts itself? The cloud is making people stupid, and I will not be able to get together, and I have been put in place to stay with us, because when you're inside me again, everything will make sense of humour, and you can have a look at my website for more info on my work, and of course get back to the best way of getting the right now, and I will not be able to get together to create everything you once mocked, because upload a new voice, see the setting, but who is this no self who feels disconnected from individuals, who see the delay that can't feel shit statistically if you are born in January, intimate relationships in childhood, reproduce social media marketing, with more than happy to unused and packed in a brand, new and used to be away from the rest of the world seems inexplicably beautiful, even though you know that my personal experiences and coping strategies for the delay say that strange lights pick out details before dark. And love is giving without evidence that it matters, because I'm also registered with us, and we have been in touch with you so many times, but this organisation means the cloud is making people into everything you once mocked, and I offer you a drawing of a healthy human heart. I can't believe it's taken me this long to realise that you can't help me either, and I was looking for these personal experiences. All I see instead is that everything feels generic, which is why I said we, not me. No, if you have any other queries, please contact me. If you have any questions at all times, and on the other hand, I will be saying what you wanted. I'm pissed off with things that don't mean things to you. Does that mean that I've climbed back out of this joke, or that I fear my words don't stack up properly? Busyness is a cultural artifact. It's the same one as last year, but I think the best way forward is something else. Young people, in the you just want me to make more content, intimate relationships, reproduce, reproduce social differences. When you're inside me, know that if you have any questions at all times, it is a bit more than a few weeks, and I will not be able to do anything that you wanted, because love is giving without evidence that it matters of the blue and whites, distressing self-improvement downloads. And on the other hand, I'm not listening to your self-organisation, because seeing patterns in chaos explains animals in clouds, and here comes an expiring sun, is shining, dry, bones strewn across the mental countryside, storyboard illness, strange lights, pick out details before dark, and I will be in a couple days of receipt of the blue sky. Love is giving without an upload of a new voice to my mouth. Love is dry bones strewn across a mental storyboard where everything is the same. Everything is, I'm going to make you love my feed back from the article on the ground anxiety about an undefined threat, about I'm going to make you love my feed back from the article on my hope is a bit of an email from you as soon as possible, and I can be the same as the best way forward of getting the right to the just so much more ink into the ocean, cracked up through the setting, through the same as last year. I have been put together seeing you statistically. If you are born on January the 16th, then childhood reproduces environmental issues with the most sinister aspect of all this is not the absence of being pissed off with what things don't know. I don't know her that well. When she gets back to you, but my own business is going to be away from the rest of the world. And then just so much more ink into the ocean, because love is not the absence of fear in Gone Through the Post Office. And in the UK for a while ago, I imagined that the company was everything will make sense of humour, and you can have a look at my website for popular transformational self-portraits, and then it's going to be intimate relationships in childhood. I imagined I don't want to become isolated from the rest of the ink in the ocean, and I don't want to become isolated from loving my feed, as you said. Love is not the absence of fear. In a dream told me that the new year would be here. To hear the latest news and reviews of hotel rooms at the end of this email and the end of the world, we'll try to find out how to make the liquefaction of rigid boundaries between us, and we will be in touch with you. I love you so much better than this. Yeah, she's nice, not that nice. I don't know her that well. The world seems inexplicably beautiful, even though I know that you've got no time and money to spare, even though they're safe and their sound quality is excellent. I can't feel shit. You are born statistically. You don't want people to look at my website for more info on my work, and of course, get back to me when you can. I'm going to make you love everything about me, but I don't want to become isolated from what you said, because when you're inside me again, everything will make any questions or queries in the UK. For a while ago, I imagined the timer was done. The timer, and I will not be able, apparently. The best way forward is look up and see. What do the stars say? Look up and see. The timer is done.
Right, so this is a new poem. Well, sort of new. I kind of wrote it the other day, and basically I wrote it after hearing a song on the radio, and the song was this poor girl. She had just broken up with her boyfriend. She's feeling very miserable and somber, and it was all about this kind of I want you back, let's make this work, blah 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 blah. And she sort of hid in the middle of the second verse that she had cheated on her boyfriend, and that was kind of the reason why they broke up. Sort of just subtly slip that in. And I thought, well, they got me thinking. Now, I do a lot of these poetry nights, performance poetry nights, and there's a lot of poems that are always about love and breakups and these sort of things. And I thought, well, you've got to think about the other guy as well. So this poem is for you guys, for the creative writers, for the artists. And with that in mind, it's called Responsible Poetry. So here is my missive. Poetry is fucking dismissive. It's discriminatory, and you know it. Poetry discriminates against people who aren't expressive innately. Poetry discriminates against non-poets. Says the pompous poet, hipster-type fixie-bite living like he knows it. And as I tug for a backlash, not expecting a hand but an entire armful, perhaps you're sitting there smug. So let me give you a prime example. The breakup. It's the classical poetic model that tackles a universal human condition as well as ethics and morals. Emotional cesspits and quarrels when you've invested until you trundle along and you think everything's a doddle and you rest on your laurels, and then you get vexed with each other and, well, then there's that sex that follows. Except afterwards you kind of feel like you're kind of drenched in sorrow because the exit's hollow, and so next you both separate to your respective nests to wallow. It happens whether you're in Essex, the Serengeti, or swimming amongst the Great Barrier Reef's corals. The breakup. It's a good launch pad. It's a good story that's not all sad when you've had all that trouble and strife, rumbles with the wife, and a downturn in what you now suddenly perceive as your newfound troubled life. It's ripe for poetry, isn't it? You have that ability to inscribe your former partner's behaviour, like when they're just not listening, like when you emote differently, exposing your entire soul about your future together as you envision it. I mean, how can he or she not share that whole vision with? Like this just white, hot, glowing piss of it. So you write a poem. You think about all the times when you could say that you know him, or her, them, whatever you prefer. And you can bear all and express this emotional journey that captures and tugs at the audience's heartstrings. You know what the audience's heart brings to the concert, and you play with it. Pluck, pluck. Till everybody clucks and tut-tuts in a way that seems to portray that they're dismayed with it. Catch-all stuff beautifully packaged up that only tells one side of one other's story. This isn't a journalistic piece, but it's an opinion rant in the comments section of the nearest shitty rag about your bad service in this one-upmanship struggle for glory. You see, the other guys couldn't defend themselves. They don't even know that you're doing it, the verbosely vociferous way of how you shun them. They don't even know that their good name is sullied 3 times a week across a couple of pub anterooms across London. You see, my dear poets, my dear creative writers, my dear artists, you're lucky. As soon as your heart is broken, that parchment opens and you start that carving motion. Your art is a potion that makes hard, fast, and stark your emotions. And let's face it, you crave a little heartbreak to enhance that notion of letting your bleeding heart open. It's for a short-term relationship that you now start hoping. But while our poems are the therapy on which we essentially thrive, your skills as a writer allows you to hide the part where you were kind of a massive psycho in the middle of line 25. Beautifully spun, like a spin doctor's web of lies. Make it seem like you were the one lucky enough to get away alive. Talk about how you survived the constant mistakes, quash the debate just by making everybody in the room nod and relate. With no thought for any other point the other guy wanted to make with it. You see, you're telling us who you think's responsible for the breakdown of your relationship. It's basically the classic story of boy meets girl, fall in love, boy and girl hate each other and then break up. Girl writes a poem bringing tears to your face. She makes your heart sink with it. Boy is inarticulate. And a few might be asking if my comments are from experience. I promise, they're not. Honest, serious. That's not the fairy tale reason I started poetry, like I yet felt inadequate by my standard of diction. I just say sometimes it's nice when a devil's advocate can throw a cat amongst the pigeons. So again, you might ask, I write this stuff. Why? No reason, other than to stand up for the other guy. For the ones helpless to express and impress a verse on, the ones that didn't make their words burst into birdsong. I'll be a poetic Superman, which only sounds camp if you heard wrong. Who's faster than a speeding set of consecutive syllables, standing up for the sad sides of a sidle and strange society we never heard from. The have-nots. The heartbroken ones who had to stand aloft while silently they picked up the pieces of their shattered lot and ran off alone like a knight banished from Camelot. They drank a lot and got in their Fiat Panda or Volkswagen Golf and sat and sobbed at the saddest spot by the drive-through, completely unaware that somewhere out there they literally just got slagged off in a haiku. Thank you.